along with Professor Sudhakar Panda, ex-VC Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar, as our honorable esteemed speakers. I very humbly beseech highly lauded Honorable Dr. A.K. Tomar Sir, Chief Conference Coordinator, Chanakya of Indian Economics, a highly experienced teacher, a veteran in the field of education and ex-principal of DS College Aligarh, to welcome our guest today, Dr. A.K. Tomar Sir, please.
Thank you, madam, for giving me the opportunity to speak some words before our audiences, our learned guest, our respected president, sir. मैं आप सभी का जी मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं, जो कि आज के इस विषय पर जो कि बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है और टॉपिक बहुत ही रेलेवेंट है। आज इंडिया के सामने क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, क्या उसके सामने चैलेंजेस हैं, इन सब पर चर्चा करने के लिए, इस सब पे अपने विचार रखने के लिए हमारे पास लर्नड पैनलिस्ट हैं। प्रोफेसर सुधाकर पंडा जी एक्स वाइस चांसलर हैं उड़ीसा से, प्रोफेसर सुधीर शर्मा जी हैं भोपाल से, प्रोफेसर मधुरमा लाल मैडम हैं लखनऊ से, और लखनऊ से ही प्रोफेसर अनुपमा श्रीवास्तव जी हैं, जो आईटी कॉलेज लखनऊ लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी से भी पुराना कॉलेज है, आईटी कॉलेज, गर्ल्स कॉलेज, उसकी वो प्रोफेसर है। तो आज बड़ा अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि हमें आज को सुनने का मौका मिलेगा। और ये जो कॉन्फ्रेंस कॉन्क्लेव हो रहा है, इसमें तमाम यूनिवर्सिटीज के प्रोफेसर्स, रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स और एकेडमिशियंस जुड़े हुए हैं। खासतौर से मेरे पास गोरखपुर यूनिवर्सिटी से भी फोन आया था। उन्होंने कहा कि आज हम सारे लोग जो हैं लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी के इकोनॉमिक्स डिपार्टमेंट के, गोरखपुर यूनिवर्सिटी के लोग आज हमारे साथ जुड़ना चाहेंगे, और वो जुड़ गए हैं। आप सभी का स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है, वंदन है। वेलकम यू ऑल सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू सो मच सर। सर प्रोफेसर एपी पांडे सर ने ज्वाइन कर लिया है? हैज ही ज्वाइन? मैडम
नहीं, मैडम प्रोफेसर घनश्याम सिंह जी को इनवाइट कर लीजिए।
ओके ओके,
ही इज आवर प्रेसिडेंट।
Okay, okay. It is indeed a matter of pleasure for me to invite the President of Indian Economic Association, Honorable Professor Ghanshyam N. Singh, Sir, fountainhead of illuminating ideas, for his address. Sir, please.
Okay, thank you very much. In fact, we have got a very long list of participants. If I miss some of the names. What is that?
Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah, sir. Continue.
Continue, sir.
Should I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That shows that Professor Sudhakar Panda is also here, and he is one of the best speaker. He is the former Vice Chancellor of Birla Global University and a good friend of mine for years. We have got with us Sudhir Sharma ji, Adya Prasad Pandey. I have not seen his face anyway, but he is here, his name is here. Madhurima Das, Anupama Sharma, and of all the persons, I would like to mention my own strong team with Professor A.K. Tomar, Chief Coordinator and Contact Person of the Association, D.K. Asthana, who has given a very illustrative and very impressive introduction of all the persons and even the subject also. Indu Vashne, Monica Vashne, all must be there here. Well, if I forget all the other names, I may be excused for that, because the exhaustive list has already been elaborated by my friend and my teammate, Professor Tomar and D.K. Asthana. Well, the subject of this webinar or the seminar is very important. The important in the sense that it has got the relevance, the present age. Relevance in the sense that the subject that you know that it is in Indian economy, in the global scenario, opportunities and challenges. I would like to start with the challenges, and then we will see what opportunity it has provided for at the global level and for India as such. Well, the present decade of the century is passing through a very critical period. It has started with COVID-19, which has shattered the whole economy of the world, and India also, we were very much, Indian economy also suffered a lot. As I told you earlier, in my explanation, that the opportunities that it has provided for India and the world is a different thing that I will come later. Then after that, a unprovoked Russian attack on Ukraine. It has also settled our own system, and the global establishment and democratic system was in danger. It became one of the casualty of this one. Then thereafter, recession is a global problem that is coming up. Even World Bank and International Economic Fund, they have explained it that in 2023, the Great Depression is coming, knocking the door of the world. It may affect India as also the world, and it is going to affect it very much. So I would like to say as to how these problems, these challenges have been accepted, and India has accepted it as an opportunity to promote its own economy. Let us start with the first one, COVID-19. India was the first country, and still it is, that it has its leadership, present leadership. It monitored the what we call vaccination and all that. Not only that, it was the first country to serve all the persons of their citizenry free to and at their doorstep. It has not only that, never first policy was also India's a leading thing that has appreciated all over. So these opportunity, even the Russian unprovoked war on Ukraine, it has given an opportunity in the sense that both Russia and Ukraine is looking at India and find as to how India can tackle the problem and how it can emerge as the best. And it is emerging as the best. Emerging as the best in the sense that in 2023 is going to be a very grave recession period for the world. But it is not going to affect India in that severely as it is going to affect all others. It is not, because World Bank even has said that India is going fast, and it is going in the sense that it's moving very fast. Global rating firms on Wednesday realized and said that growth projected for India is 5.5%. This is the ask, and people say the economists and all the world they find that India is the fast-growing country. 2030, it is going to be the third largest country, and in 2050, it is going to be the second one. So this is a great thing. In spite of all the obstacles, all the difficulty that has came up, that is what we call COVID. COVID also, India has not only saved its own populace, but it has also helped the never first policy and other countries also to save their own citizenry. Then recession also, it affected the world severely, but India's effect is not so severe, and it is not going to affect in that way as it has affected others. Both, as I illustrated earlier, both Ukraine and Russia looks at India, and not even that. You have seen that American said that India can only intervene and save this unprovoked aggression of Russia. So this is the achievement of India all during the challenges that has come up. Well, I don't know how much time you have given for me, but I don't like to illustrate it and go long, but I can simply say that these are the problems came up, and India has accepted these problems as challenges, and it has not only accepted the problem as challenges, but it has owned the challenges and converted it into opportunity. This is all that I have to say. I had to say a lot, but I think the time is not so very much. So I like to finish it and say thank you very much to all of you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful address. Your talk was a guiding torch for us all. You talked about the fall of Indian economy due to COVID and recession, and measures taken to overcome it by India. And I once again would like to thank you, sir, for trying to be brief and finishing your talk in time. And I would very humbly request all the speakers to please take care of the time. Time allotted for each speaker is 10 minutes. I very humbly request all the speakers. Sir, next, whom should I call? AP Pandey sir has joined, or shall I?
He's joined it, sir. He's joining. He's joined, I think. So.
He has joined, sir?
You call him. You call him.
Okay, sir. So, okay, sir. So I'm calling him. Today, we have been honored by the dignified presence of esteemed Professor AP Pandey sir, former Vice Chancellor, Manipur Central University, Manipur. I take extreme delight to invite highly acclaimed, respected Vice Chancellor sir for his address, respected Professor AP Pandey sir. Sir, please unmute yourself.
So, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, namaste, Tomar Saab, Asthana ji, and Ghanshyam ji, and other dignitaries present here in the seminar. And today, we are discussing on a very important topic. And that is in current scenario, that is very because we know after pandemic and this during war of the Ukraine and Russia and other in the other bad economic condition, what is the present position of the economic scenario of the country, as well as what are the future challenges. So I want to say that actually as we know that real GDP of the our country is at 7% in 2022-23, and in global slowdown where inflation is high, and you can say that it is higher than several decades. So cost of living is also rising, and that's why many people say that prices of the commodities are getting more and more high position. So, and also this is tightening of the financial condition is most in the most of the regions. So financial conditions also tightening, not only in India, in other in the other countries also. And this Russia and Ukraine war is also affecting, and also this after lingering of the COVID-19, because first phase came, the second phase came, then again we are expecting one more phase, because there are rumors and there are cases coming out of the this COVID. So in all these adverse situations, all may. So we are getting a lot of problems, and we are facing a lot of problems. So what to do? What is the present situation? So, so far as our country is concerned, that is the global, where global growth is to forecast slow from 6.0 in 2021 to 3.2 in 2022 and 2.7 2023. Global inflation is also being forecasted to rise from 4.7% to 8.8% in 2022, but to decline to 6.5 in 2023 and 4% by 2024. So this is the scenario. And amidst the crisis, India stands on better position. This is not our view. This is the view of the economists from other countries also. And this we are promising growth. Our Prime Minister and other dignitaries, they are promising growth. They are saying that okay, we shall concentrate ourselves for the growth of the country, for the growth of the economy, and we are also trying to slow the inflation. And as we know that vaccination is in a very rapid position in India in comparison to other countries. So with this and also well celebrated short-term policy measures. So that is also very important, because short-term policy measures, our short-term policy measures are being appreciated by other countries' economists also. This has effectively navigated the economy through turbulent times, paving the path towards the desired resilience and growth. So this is the scenario, because we are doing a lot. Our economy is doing a lot, and we have very bravely faced the COVID-19, and vaccination position is also in a better position in comparison to other countries of the world. And recently there was a statement from the managing director of IMF, Mr. Kristalin Georgieva, and managing director said that the Indian economy will alone contribute 50% of the global growth this year, as country continue to remain a relatively bright spot in the world economy. He told that India will be a bright spot in the world economy because there are certain regions, and they forecasted that she expected that high growth rate of 6.8% in March ending, which is quite impressive. So that is, they said that high growth rate is impressive, and according to IMF, digitalization has pulled out the world fifth largest economy from COVID-induced pandemic loss. And also, President, present fiscal policy and provided in the next year's budget will help to sustain the growth momentum. Because in our budget, our Prime Minister has emphasized that the financing for this capital investment. So capital formation will be much more. It is expected like that. So, and when there is any, and when there is more capital formation in economy, certainly a lot of problems are solved. And also the country has done a lot of good work for digitalization. So after digitalization, in many states, in many districts and states, 100% or 90%, 80% digitalization is there. So in a country like India, where literacy is not so good, this digitalization process has initiated the development and also has been successfully stopped the black money. So that is very important, and it has increased the income of the government also, and that's why a lot of development work are being performed, and increase in GST also has given a good chance for the development. Good amount of money they have provided for development. That's why a lot of infrastructure development are being done. And also this because of India's fiscal policy have been responsive for economic condition, so it provides significant financing for capital investment. And also because India didn't shy away to learn the lessons from pandemic and to implement very strong policies to overcome what has been really a difficult time for a number of months. So that is also very important, because one should learn lesson from the surroundings and also the situations. So India already took it as a challenge and they have owned it. So all these things, they have made India in a better economic condition. Although challenges are still there, because as we know, our countries are we are not having good relations with them. And there is crisis also. Recently, we have seen in the our television media that economic condition of Pakistan is very bad. And that can also affect the India. And because if there is adverse situation in the neighboring country, then in that case, a problem can arise for our country also. That is also a challenge for India. And global war, which is spreading, and China is also joining anyhow by any means to Russia. So that may also create problem for India. So I think among all these challenging situation, our country is progressing very fast, And I hope that with the present set of the government, this our economy will be much more stronger, and it is the responsibility of we economists to suggest good path, suitable path for the development of the economy to the government, so that they can do something much more and in much more better way. Thank you all for giving me chance to express my views, and I congratulate to all of you for having such a good uh, seminar. Thank you.
Thank you,
Pranam,
sir.
sir.
Your words were very insightful and stimulating. We are highly grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to address us. You discussed various factors responsible for the fall of economy and a better position of India as compared to other countries. Next, we have highly acclaimed Professor Anupma Srivastava Madam, Professor and Head the Department of Economics from IT College, Lucknow. She has graced the conclave by her graceful presence. Respected Madam has been a committed professor with over 30 years of experience of leading academic institutions and teaching students. She is recipient of various awards and has a long list of publications in different national, international journals and books. Madam has conducted many seminars and conferences and has attended various seminars out of India also. The list is long. To cut short, I very earnestly entreat Reverend Professor Anupma Srivastava Madam to address this learned community. Professor Anupma Srivastava Madam, please.
Thank you, Sangeeta ji, and a very good evening to everyone here. And it is my proud privilege to attend this conference. And I'm very grateful to Dr. A.P. Tiwari, A.P. Pandey sir, and Dr. A.K. Tomar sir, and Ghanshyam Singh ji, Digya Sthana sir, and all the invited dignitaries who have come here and given this proud privilege to me to present my views. And this is my presentation, although I'm grateful because I have to attend a meeting in the college. So I just requested Dr. Tomar that please exempt me. But then I thought that it is indeed a great opportunity to discuss a very concurrent topic of Indian economy in the present global scenario. And that's why I'm here. And I would like to request you all to, see my presentation and then put in your views also on this. Monica, may I request you to change the slide, second slide? Yeah, it's the trail of our economy. If you see diagrammatically, I have tried to represent the trail of our Indian economy, that it is on the rise, and it's the third largest economy by purchasing power parity theory, and it's the fifth largest economy by nominal GDP. So these are all positives of our Indian economy. Next slide, please. But if we talk about challenges, as Professor Ghanshyam Singh talked about in the beginning, there are so many challenges which we are facing in terms of our economy. One is population density. And I have tried to prove it through the data also that the population density has increased in all the states and union territories between 1991 and 2011. And it is, a matter of great concern. The second problem or challenge of the Indian economy, which I feel that it is very important and it requires the attention of the government as well as the other policy makers, is the infrastructure. Our infrastructure is really requiring a lot of attention by the government. The Bombay plan was, formulated in 1944 by India's top industrialists J.R.D. Tata and G.D. Birla. With the help of new economists and a group of industrialists advocate such a wide-ranging role for the state. The Indian industrialists also believed that they did not have the financial muscle to take up large-scale investments, and hence the state had to step in. And now it's really the responsibility and the matter of concern for the state to improve the infrastructure for the people. Another area of challenge is poverty. As we are all struggling from that, the number of poor people in India dropped by about 41.5 million over the last 15 years, as is reported by the Global Multidimensional Poverty Index. Moreover, the country still has the largest number of poor people and children worldwide, India. And, unpacking deprivation bundles to reduce multidimensional poverty. That is also a report which was conducted, released by Research Center of Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative and UNDP. So that also says that it's a big challenge. Global uncertainty is also very much there from Brexit and US-China trade tensions, which our Honorable Speaker has already pointed out, to the pandemic and war. Successive shocks have combined to keep uncertainty elevated. And then, as we know, corruption and political and bureaucratic logjam, which is one of the acute challenge for the Indian economy, because India was ranked 86 out of the countries in International Perception Index, and it is found that the highest bribery rate, 39%, was found in India. So that's also one of the major challenges of Indian economy. Next slide, please. And these are also alongside more challenges for us, like education. Lack of education is one thing, and then the expenses on education, because education should be the commodity in terms of available for all. But in India, it is becoming so expensive now that we can't say that everyone will be, availing this kind of education. So we have to see how to balance between education as a commodity and education as a social sector to improvise the quality of living of the people. The second is work environment. It is also becoming a challenge, because now after COVID, there is a lot of, cutting down of the jobs and work from home. These kinds of challenges are coming up, contractual type of employment rather than permanent employment. So this environment change has also created a lot of, challenges in front of the people. Social security in terms of nature of employment, it is related to nature of employment. So automatically, if employment is contractual or part-time, then social security can't be insured for everyone. Debt, now, since people are, living expenses are higher and higher now, they are going into the debt trap. So that is also one of the major concerns. And then lack of aspirational mapping, that is also one of the challenge which we need to focus on. Next slide, please, Monica. Then India's journey, as we see, you can start with India being the closed economy when we started our planning, and then we came to 1991 year where we introduced LPG model in the regime of Indian, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh time, LPG, which was introduced, making India an open economy in terms of liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And then strategic autonomy, that was also one of the, things which now we have achieved, and we want to go further on this path. Next slide. Demonetization is also one of the sudden changes which we have adopted. Then aviation and railways have also, seen a lot of changes. COVID-19 relief measures have taken place. GST has replaced the taxation measures which were already in place. So these are sudden changes and adaptability process which India has to, still we are struggling to adapt those changes. Next. Healthcare is one of the important sectors which everyone realized after COVID that it is one of the most important social sector where we need to, sensitize people, and we also need to increase our government health expenditure. Then education is also another important sector which we need to emphasize on. And that was a debate over privatization and disinvestment, which we need to focus on, because on the one hand, we try to improve the quality of education through privatization. On the other hand, everyone can't access that education if it is going to be privatized. So these things we need to understand and debate upon more in the coming seminars. And I think I will again get the opportunity to hear and present my views on further debates. Next, please. The opportunities also are enough and much more in India. Like we can borrow from David Ricardo's comparative advantage model, which is very old model, but we can borrow from there and talk about specialization in that line of production where we have comparative cost advantage. Next, non-alignment to strategic autonomy is also one of the opportunities which are, international relations present on, and we have to move towards that. Then next, we talk about protecting agriculture. So agriculture is the primary sector where largest number of people in India are employed and engaged. So we have to negotiate to protect our agriculture. Next, demographic dividend and market size. And since we know that India has the largest number of youth dividend, if we channelize that youth energy into the positive direction, then definitely India is able to reap the benefit of the demographic dividend. But how and in what channels we can engage that youth energy is one of the matter of debate, and we need to explore that opportunity depending upon the market size, because India is one of the largest market for the people. So we can exploit those resources in terms of opportunities. Travel and tourism is another sector where a lot of opportunities are emerging, and we need to explore that also. Then the route connecting Asia and the world. We have to explore that route and try to open up our economy and explore the international connections so that we can, make not only international travel, but we can also, imbibe that model which can, give us the benefits of international trade and faculty exchange. Even in education, we are talking about the route connecting Asia and the world. And I think that's one of the biggest opportunity which we as academicians are trying to explore now. And an independent economic policy framed through economic acumen, sidestepping political needs and knee-jerk reaction is one of the most needed things in today's world. I think that's one of the important agenda for our further debates and the solving the challenges of Indian economy. Thank you. So I hope that I am able to present my views in this short span of time, and very much thankful. Since I have to leave for the college, I just want to request the organizers to exempt me from the later part of the session, but I would definitely get the recording and listen to the views, and then we will share it on the further debates. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for your thought-provoking address. We are fortunate to have you here. Thank you once again, madam, for addressing us. In spite of your busy schedule, ma'am, you discussed the challenges we Indians are facing like population, poverty, social security, etc., and the journey of India very effectively. Thank you once again so much, ma'am. The next luminary present today is highly acclaimed, honored Professor Madhurima Lal Madam, ex-head and Professor Applied Economics, Lucknow, University of Lucknow. Respected Madam has done her DLED in Applied Economics and Business Administration. Madam is having 30 years of administrative experience with a total experience of 35 years. She has been honored with various awards like Bharat Gaurav Award, Samaj Shiromani Award, to name a few. Her name has been entered in Limca Book of Records as most highly qualified person in the country with 22 books, 117 papers. The list of credentials is very long. I very respectfully, earnestly implore Honorable Madam to enlighten us. Respected Professor Madhurima Lal, Madam, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And at the outset, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers for getting me this opportunity to hear wonderful dissertations and views of the experts. And since I'm the third or fourth one,
Madam, please unmute yourself.
Unmute करिए madam.
I have already unmuted. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I said that at the outset, I'm so grateful to the organizers who have given me this golden opportunity to listen to the wonderful views and expert points from coming up from the experts of this field. And they had made my work so easy because most of the points have been taken up that has to be discussed. So now, besides those points, what has been left out, I'll be focusing only that point. And we are talking about the Indian economy in the global scenario. So it is important for me to focus our set into in the global picture. So I may not be, I agree that there are population things, there are educational literacy is there and illiteracy is there. The aspirational trapping is quite complicated with us. There are demonstrations and GSTs and health enterprises we have talked about, and various, Anupma has given such a wonderful presentation, and our Honorable Pandey sir has given so many expert views. So taking them just on the different side and coming up, bearing all those points, let me just focus on those points which I think which has not been taken up so far, so that I can precise my views. Now, I think when we are talking on Indian on the global term and comparing our economy to that, three very particular things have to be taken into consideration. One is the global offshoring of our economy. And second is, of course, as you said, the digitalization, which has really, really helped us in taking us to another level. And then the energy transition. Now, taking all these three factors at one places, besides all the points that we have already discussed, of course, Indian economy cannot just not relate. We cannot just deviate from the agriculture priorities or the industrial priorities or the unequitable distribution of wealth. That has all to be taken into thing. But the latest trend that has come up along with our facing the Ukraine war and all that, and then putting ourselves into the global scenario, is that we need to have a global offshoring. We need to have a digitalization, a special thing. And then we need to have energy transition that our government has very, very prudently and very expertly. This is some of the statistics that has been taken up. Now, we have to correlate these important developments with the parity power, purchasing power parity, when we are talking on the international, our picture on the global side. and that with share of 7% of the global, the GDP of, we are after China and expected to reach US $5 trillion by 2027 if we combine these elements. And that is very prudently, very, say, brilliantly, RBI, while managing its fiscal and monetary policies after the slapshots of the COVID-19, that of course that has given us a downtrend, and then we have very brilliantly coming out of that, but still it's not a very glaring picture. What the statistics shows is there, but then we have to see that this purchasing power parity, along with the GDP's rate of growth that the India is facing in the market exchange rate, is expected, if it keeps on the way, of course in the presently we are not on the highest level, but if it keeps on going on that track, then we can reach $5 trillion by 2027. And of course, if it goes in that way, then we can overtake American economy as per the OECD predictions, the forecast, by 2048. Now, maybe we are not there in 2048, but of course, that will be the golden period. But this track has to be taken up, and it has to be taken up in future also very carefully. And at the back of the curtain, that the RBI has been dealing with these very incentive points. Yes, of course, we know that the demonetization is there. Everyone knows that. We know that the health expertise has been there. We know the privatization problems has been there that we have been facing and that we want to introduce despite its limitations. But then what actually the challenges are, that despite this increasing trend or decreasing trend, the realistic part is that the consumer prices are again likely to remain above the normal status as per the RBI's comfort level for a longer period of time. And this is very alarming. And with this, the GDP is tracking much below. If you want, you can see the slide. Ma'am, please, you can go to the next slide. 2 or 3 slides, and then you can remove them. That GDP is currently, because this has got approved from the Reserve Bank statistics. And then the GDP currently tracking much below as to what we are actually given on the face value. And if you see the key position, ma'am, there is one table. In the key position, you will be, yes, this one, that you will be able to know that everywhere in the financial year 2023, and after that moving to 23 to 24, we are on the down track. So this is really alarming, and that has to be taken up very carefully. Now, what has kept us? Now, ma'am, you can remove all the slides. We are, I just wanted to show up that the increasing the price rise along with the currently GDP tracking below what the RBI was trying to achieve. This is like karele pe neem chadha sort of a thing, that this is very difficult to, but whatever the comfort level is there, and what I would say that what are the opportunities that we really had done and why we were able to show the success point is, there are a few things. I'm leaving all those points which already the viewers have, the experts have already expressed. Besides those points, that a few things that has been left out was that there is a rise in unicorns. Coming up with the unicorns, that is the the valuation is more than $1 billion US dollars. This is a remarkable thing, that taking up their backing, like 100 unicorns with a total valuation of $332.7 billion US dollar is something surprising. So that has really played a good role in Indian economy in putting the comfort level of our economy on the global platform, because unicorn is the thing where the rest of the world is depending, and we are in the same slide. So we have to push up this effort, and which we are the high number of startups is a part of reason India has made remarkable progress. When we talk about Indian economy, we are talking on the customization. We are talking on the traditional things. But what the latest things has been taking up is the unicorns and the remarkable process in the global innovations. No country, no world, even no small enterprise can ever exist if there is the innovation point has been left out. And that unicorn is really a great thing that is supporting us and making the innovation index ranking in a very ranking, finding a place in the top 40s. You see, India, who has never been, I mean, below the 100 level, it is now on the top 40. So that has basically World Intellectual Property Organization that we have been catching up with this latest trend. And this is the opportunity that we saw, and that we had been taken, we have taken the opportunity in the best possible way. And then the second one is the renewable energy, fueling the future. The renewable energy, fortunately, India is the world's third largest producer of renewable energy, and 40% of its installed electricity capacity is coming up from non-fossil fuel sources. This is good, because when if it is, say, if it is not renewable, then what if we consume all of that? So still there is a great hope if we take up these opportunities. And as you all know, that G20, we are chairing, and success in the leadership through which we have been showing, and still we are able to show our supremacy while we have chaired the G20, and still we are doing remarkable things on that. And now India's G20 presidency comes up at a time when the world is witnessing tough circumstances. And that time, India with G20, the leadership, is a remarkable opportunity that can only be snatched away by someone who is a great visionary. I will not be talking about the models. I will not be talking about agriculture. We know that agriculture is the savior, even when from minus 27, just after the COVID period, that we were able to go to -7, only agriculture was the savior. We know that when in the first 5-year plan, agriculture until the present, and then the 5-year plan went out. But throughout the plans, till the Niti Aayog came, it is only agriculture which we are backed, and so natural, because more than 65% or more than 35% is based on something in the rural sector. Of course, everything is based upon. But what actually can save is the MSMEs. I will not repeat my last lecture. Why MSMEs? Why the industrial sector? Why we are lacking? What is the lacking point, and what is the opportunity, and how we can come up? That is all from the last lecture in Indian Association, in this remarkable association. So you can correlate. But what new points are that the only way that we can come out is, why do we leave the points just by thinking? We must, as an academician, we must come out with things which really works. And the first is that the supply chain is to control inflation. What is inflation? Is the quantity of money is just increasing and increasing. The only way out is, of course, that the supply chain must be increased. And that only can be increased well when we are just jumping into, with vigorously, madly, we are working on the construction, infrastructure, the manufacturing sector that could automatically create jobs, that could automatically create skills, and there we have to focus. And that is there, that along with the policies, the optimization of the building of the overall infrastructure, so that is strengthening our Indian inner economy, inner strength, that is that we have to concentrate on the service sector for job creation, because that is the only way out that we can really come out. And that is the way, that is the potentiality that, of course, we are realizing, but still it needs a small push-up. And the third is that the sources of revenues, you already have explored the best of the revenues, and that we can stand up in the, see, revenues, we are talking on the global scenario, but what, when we are talking about the revenues, that has to be taken up, first of all, we have to strengthen ourselves. So one thing has really happened good, that the GST level that could really help the tax revenue has been strong, thanks to the economic revival and inflation. The government will have to monetize the assets so that it can front load its expenses this year. So there's no way out. We have to concentrate on this. And the government exceeded its asset monetization target in the financial year 2022, which could make us in a very comfortable position. And we have to continue with that. If we have to put ourselves on the global scenario first, we have to strengthen ourselves. And the last but not the least is prepare India to bounce back when the global economy recovers. It's not only we are lurching behind. Of course, along with all the economies. So, खेलना हो तो अपने से बेहतर से खेलो ना. So we have to see the economies who are betterly placed. And if we see them, and if we adopt, taking our inner thing, taking our circumstances, of course, that we must focus on completing ongoing infrastructure projects. We must be boosting various sectors, strong linkages, and we must work on our multiplier effect. Madam has very rightly said that the David Ricardo model is there. And if we put it into the modern perspective, and then if we combine with that, it can really work very nicely. And of course, the startups, the only way out is, of course, the startups like Unicorn is on a very great and a very commendable method that we are taking up. But still, if we enterprise, if we start taking risk, if we could really go and have much of entrepreneurship, that's the only way out that we can really boost up our youth. Our youth really needs, and it is worth, and they are capable. We have to come out, we have to come forward for taking up the MSMEs, the incubations, the innovations, and along with all the points that we have spoken, then only Indian economy will come out and meet the challenges. Thank you once again for making me the part of this beautiful deliberation. My regards to all of you.
It was a real pleasure to listen to you, ma'am. Your words were highly informative and valuable. Thank you so much for your thought-provoking, valuable address. You discussed the need to have globalization, digitalization, and the ways to achieve them. I am very grateful to all the speakers till now, as they are taking care of time and confining their address to the time allotted, that is 10 minutes. Thank you once again to all the speakers. Next dignitary present today with us is Honorable Professor Sudhir Sharma sir, a man with distinct vision, Pro-Vice Chancellor, SRK University, Bhopal. Respected sir has retired from Chaudhary Charan Singh University, Meerut. Honorable sir is having over 37 years of academic and administrative experience. He has a track record of implementing advanced administrative processes, establishing modern curriculum, and supervising research projects. Besides having a long list of publication work, sir has very successfully handled various administrative duties. Sir has also delivered many All India radio talks and has chaired various conferences and workshops. I take extreme delight to invite esteemed Professor Sudhir Sharma sir for his address. Professor Sudhir Sharma sir, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sangeeta. You have, you can say, made so many good comments regarding me. Here, of course, I have sent some PPT, may not be reaching you because of my late sending that. I will discuss this issue related with the Indian economy in the present global scenario in a way slightly different, where most of the content is based on IMF literature, World Bank literature, RBI, Economic Times, and so on.
So please open your video. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to share something, I can open you for the presentation, sir. If you want to present.
All right. This video is not that important. I generally don't open the video when I am speaking on this virtual meeting. All right. My point is, when we talk about the global growth, which is broadly driven by population growth, productivity growth, your global credit growth, and trade growth. This increasing trade facilitated productivity, and apart from trade, the most important factor that has contributed most significantly is our credit, increasing credit globally. The global economy is going through its slowest period of growth since the financial crisis of 2008, driven predominantly by slowing trade and very high level of debt. While the US and China were struggling to solve a trade conflict, another trade conflict boiled up in East Asia between Japan and South Korea. Both these trade conflicts have significantly affected manufacturing activity across most of the globe. Now, the second thing is, as long as the tariff continues, global trade will be impacted negatively, and there could be further permanent shift in the way business is done globally. The US and China signed their long-awaited Phase 1 trade deal in January 2020, with China agreeing to buy an additional 200 US billion worth of goods and services. But China bought only 57% of that what promised. When we are talking about the current world population, 8 billion plus, and our population is becoming very large on this earth, and that is creating a problem related with climate change, biodiversity loss, resource depletion, and so on. And since the population is a dynamic field, there have been significant changes in birth rates and the population trajectories of the countries and continent in the recent years. Global population is still growing, and 80 million addition is happening every year. The global trade scenario is still murky. Both US and China and Japan and South Korea trade tussles not over. Here, the downside risks predominate, including the re-escalation of global trade tensions, major economies experiencing a sharp slowdown, and financial market stock in emerging market. IMF is also optimistic that the first phase of the trade deal between the US and China might see manufacturing activity and the global trade bottoming out. With global debt also having reached unprecedented level, there are no visible drivers for global growth to reach previous high. Currently, India is the least leveraged amongst the G20, providing the largest runway for growth among large economies. Asia and Africa are likely to be medium-term drivers of global growth. It is certainly encouraging that the trade issues are being resolved and the countries are acknowledging the value of free trade. However, the high risk of global debt are a major concern, as it is already at the unprecedented 300% of the global GDP, which is a very high mark. And how it will affect the global stability, it is another issue. Global growth is projected to slow from an estimated 6.1% in 2021 to 3.6% in 22 and 23, and there is a downward and that way the again projections. When we see inflation, there too the alarming things happened, and it reached to 6.6% in 2023, and it is expected that 4.3% will be the inflation rate, global inflation rate in 2024, which is above pre-pandemic levels. Supply chain connectivity plays a very important role, and here also India is making all-out efforts. The connectivity of one economy depends on the connectivity of all its partners. Understanding how well and how limited connectivity requires information about the trade cost, economic distance, which reflect the average cost to access market as a buyer or supplier. The unit of analysis can vary. Facilitating trade at the border, behind the border, and beyond, this modern era where international trade is one of increasingly complex interactions between people, firm, organization, supply chains cross countries and regions. Trade has become a 24/7 hours business, and good performance in trade requires connectivity along all, not only roads, rail or sea, but in telecommunication, financial markets, and information processing. Having inefficient or inadequate systems of transportation, logistics, and trade-related infrastructure can severely impede a country's ability to compete on a global scale. Having said all these things, India's commencement of its G20 presidency on 1st of December marks a significant step towards undertaking a leadership role on the global stage as the global economy sails through the storm of a unique set of economic challenges. With the theme of India's G20 presidency, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, or One Earth, One Family, One Future, India has identified several points which shall be prioritized for its G20 presidency. These include inclusive, equitable, and sustainable growth. Life for the environment plays a very important role. Women's empowerment, digital public infrastructure, tech-enabled development in health, agriculture, education, commerce, skill mapping, culture and tourism, climate financing, circular economy, global food security, energy security, green hydrogen, disaster risk reduction, resilience, developmental cooperation, fight against economic crimes, and multilateral reforms. So these are the issues India is keeping in, you can say, at forefront while taking the leadership in G20. The country has transitioned to a modern economy wherein it has become more globally integrated and exports a fifth of its output compared to 1/16 at the time of independence. India also benefits from the demographic transition with the help of a lower infant mortality rate and a steady increase in the literacy rate. Therefore, with more equitable income distribution, better employment levels, and globally comparable social amenity provision, India's per capita GDP may expand in the next 25 years as it did in the previous 75 years. India's economic story during the first half of the current financial year highlighted the unwavering support the government gave to its capital expenditure, which reached 4.1 lakh crore during April to October 2022, which is 61.5% higher than the corresponding period of last year. The resilient worth of the Indian economy in the first half of the financial year 22-23 has been the fastest among major economies, thereby strengthening macroeconomic stability. India registered a broad-based expansion of 9.7% in the first half of the financial year 2022-23, supported by robust domestic demand and upbeat investment activity. India's economy grew faster during the first half of the financial year 2022-23 than the other economies, driven by strong demand and investment. Inflationary pressures have been moderating since October, with CPI inflation tampering to an 11-month low in November. On the top of it, it has fallen below the RBI's upper target band for the first time in 2022, mainly driven by the decline in the food inflation. Furthermore, the inflation expectation have also moderated in the November round of RBI's household inflation expectation survey. This bodes well for augmenting consumption in rural and urban regions in the upcoming months. Improvement in business and consumer sentiment is also likely to bolster discretionary spending. The real investment rate during the second quarter of the financial year 22-23 prevailing at a high level of 34.6% demonstrates the government's continued commitment towards asset creation. An overall rise in Rabi coverage with adequately filled irrigation reservoirs plays a pivotal role in agricultural output growth in 22-23. An increase in the minimum support prices for both Kharif and Rabi crops in 22-23 and progress in rice procurement have already been supplementing rural income in the country. Higher incomes have further resulted in an increase in sales of passenger vehicles, 2- and 3-wheelers, and tractors by a good year-on-year margin in October, November. The rise in GST collection, robust e-way bill generation, and increased e-toll collection reaffirmed the resilience of economic activity. In addition, steady growth momentum in service activities continues with expansion in PMI services during October-November, attributing to growth in output and accommodative demand conditions, leading to sustained upturn in sales. The growth impetus in rail freight, port traffic remains upbeat, with further improvement in the domestic aviation sector. Strong growth in fuel demand, domestic vehicle sales, and high UPI transaction also reflect healthy demand conditions. Continuous capital spending by the central government during the first 7 months expanded by 61.5%, amounting to 4.1 trillion, which totals up to 54.6% of the available budget. With stable foreign direct investment inflows, resurgent FPI inflows, and adequate foreign exchange reserves providing an import cover of 9 months, the external front remains resilient. This has resulted in the Indian rupee performing well as compared to other emerging market economies. As per the data released by the National Statistical Office, irrespective of the deterioration in global economic activities, Indian exports have registered a growth sequentially as well as yearly in the second quarter of the financial year 22-23. As we head into 2023, global economic developments are expected to complicate the outlook further, and therefore continued vigilance is a critical aspect in maintaining India's external resilience. Going forward, India needs to focus on medium-term challenges such as securing technology and resources for energy transition and skilling its youth for 21st century economy, while staying the course on fiscal consolidation at the general government level. With continuous efforts during the last several years, a strong platform has been erected on which the superstructure of a middle-income economy can be constructed. Last year's Global Risk Report warns that a divergent economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic risk deepening divisions at the time when collaboration was urgently required to address looming global challenges. Yet, despite hard-learned lessons around the interdependence of the global risk, few would have anticipated the extent of instability that would soon unfold, this time driven by a new war in Europe. The health and economic after effects of the pandemic have quickly spiraled into compounding crisis. Carbon emissions have climbed as the post-pandemic global economy fired back up. Food, energy have become weaponized by the war in Ukraine, sending inflation soaring to levels not seen in decades, globalizing a cost of living crisis and fueling social unrest. The resulting shift in the monetary policy marks the end of an economic era defined by easy access to cheap debt and will have vast ramifications for governments, companies, and individuals, widening inequality within and between countries. As the conflict between Russia and Ukraine approaches 400 days plus, economies and societies will not easily rebound from continued shocks. In this year's Global Risk Perception Survey, more than 4 in 5 respondents anticipated consistent volatility over the next 2 years. The persistence of these crises is already reshaping the world that we live in, ushering in economic and technological fragmentation. A continued push for national resilience in a strategic sector will come at a cost, one that only a few economies can bear. Geopolitical dynamics are also creating significant headwind for global cooperation, which often act as a guardrail to these global risks. The 18th edition of the Global Risk Report considers this backdrop of simmering geopolitical tensions and confluence of socio-economic risk. It identifies the most severe perceived risk to economies and societies over the next 2 years. The world's collective focus is being channeled into the survival of today's crisis, cost of living, social and political polarization, food and energy supplies, tepid growth, and geopolitical confrontation, among others. Yet much needed attention and the resources are being diverted from newly emerging or rapidly accelerating risks to natural ecosystems, human health, security, digital rights, and economic stability that could become crisis and catastrophe in the next decade. A low growth, low investment, low cooperation era further undermines resilience and the ability to manage future shock. In recognition of growing complexities and uncertainties, the report also explores connections between these risks. The analysis focuses on a potential polycrisis relating to shortages in natural resources such as food, water, metals, and minerals, illustrating the associated socioeconomic and environmental fallout through a set of potential future. The 2023 edition of Global Risk Report highlights the multiple areas where the world is at a critical inflection point. It is a call to action to collectively prepare for the next crisis the world may face, and in doing so, shape a pathway to a more stable, resilient world. This is the present status of India, where we are showing our population 1.4 billion, and the economy size and GDP ranking, where we are fifth as per nominal in 2022 and third as purchasing power parity. When talking about the position of US dollar, it is reducing its, you can say, the strength. It has come down below 59%. And there are some papers talking about that the issues that the new time will be different. Having said all these things, I want to add certain more points. We are talking about digitalization, and we are also talking about the research work which is going on. There is an issue which is related with cognitive workers issue, and the age of generative artificial intelligence will replace the cognitive workers, which will be a very big problem for employment for those workers who can be replaced by your artificial intelligence. And that's why India is also making all out efforts to do much research work in the field of artificial intelligence, mechanized learning, and so many other frontal areas. So saying all these things, I conclude that of course we are in a better position, but the future is very challenging, where the other countries can reduce, you can say, the chances of our growth in the same manner. So I hope our central government will keep ahead of whatever the challenges we are going to face, and we will be able to use our demographic capabilities for the best for our economy. Thank you very much, giving me sufficient time, and there are 51 you can say participants here. Thank you very much, Professor Sangeeta.
Sir, undoubtedly, your address has been extremely informative and outstanding. You discussed
Thank
how
you.
the population explosion is responsible for climate change and biodiversity loss very effectively. And you also told that although we are in a better condition, but our future is still challenging. Thank you, sir, once again.
And I also thank all the organizers and you can say Professor Tomar and Dr. Asthana and all your team. Thank you very much.
Once again, I very earnestly request all the speakers to please take care of the time. I take extreme delight in introducing our next invitee, great dignitary, Professor Sudhakar Panda sir, former Vice Chancellor, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar. Sir is at present President of Indian Economic and Allied Science Association and is member of various reputed government organizations. He has authored 11 books and has received many awards. Sir has been felicitated by the Honorable Governor Odisha for his contribution to teaching and research on 5th July 2012. Sir has been the President of Odisha Economic Association for the year 2010 and 11. Professor Sudhakar Panda sir for his address.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Esteemed Professor Ghanshyam Singh ji, respected Pandey ji, respected Professor Tomar ji, let me thank you all for this kind opportunity given to me to be with you all this afternoon, this evening. The topic as it states, Indian economy in the present global scenario. We are not speaking of Indian economy in isolation, but in the present global scenario. And then of course we come to opportunities and challenges. Now, before I come to the Indian economy, let me throw some light on the present global scenario. What is the present global scenario? After the fall of the Silicon Valley Bank, the Signature Bank, subsequently the fall of the Swiss Bank, Credit Suisse, this has created a financial crisis. And the crisis resulted because the bond portfolio plummeted in value as the interest rate rose. So here I'm undermining the role of the interest rate in economic crisis. Now, the rate of interest by the Fed rate was increased 7 to 8 times during 1 year with a view to controlling inflation in America. But the result was different. This result could not have been visualized by the policymakers. And This created a financial crisis, not only in America, but there is a fear that this may, after the fall of the 167-year banking institution Credit Suisse, this may infect the banks in Germany, and particularly the German bank, Deutsche Bank, may get infected. So number one point that I want to make here, that we have seen recently a crisis in the financial sector, not very much after the banking crisis in 2007 and 8, and then the COVID crisis of the 2018, 19, 20, etc. So this crisis was not expected because everybody was expecting growth, a smooth growth, control of inflation. Now, when you think of a global economy, an integrated economy, we know what happens in the American financial sector or in the banking sector. This has its repercussions on the banking sector in different countries. So this brings us a question whether the Indian banking system will be affected by what has happened in America. This is, I am talking in terms of the world situation. So now, this question was asked to our finance minister, Sitharaman. She said, I am quoting, there is a high level of monitoring in India, particularly in the banking sector, which I closely monitor. And she ruled out the possibility of India's banking sector getting into a crisis because of close monitoring and surveillance. Now, when we are talking of the present global scenario, where do we fit in the Indian economy? This is the first case of a financial crisis which we have overcome, and there have been many things like government intervention that could control this. Now, if you look at the world situation, you have to look at some of the countries which are near us or which may be far off from us. You know the situation in Venezuela, that affects a number of countries. You know the situation in Argentina. You know the situation in Sri Lanka. You know this situation in Pakistan. You know the situation in People's Republic of China. Why do I refer to these countries? It is because what happens in these countries, they being the immediate neighbors, will have their repercussions on the Indian economy. And particularly when China has been advocating a common development vision to control the new geopolitical situation that is emerging after the Russia and the war. So this type of a situation, which we never expected, that India would be facing so soon when it has been recovering fast from the socio-economic effects of the COVID-19 and focusing on its development growth or development goals. So here, as it has been very rightly said, India has been, talking of G20 presidents, one world, one family, Vasudev Kutumbakam. I am not going to it. I am very brief because others have taken long time. I have taken less time. So in this context, now the Indian economy has achieved 6% rate of growth in 2023. It is expected. The final estimate has not yet come. Now, Indian economy has to work in the context of the working or in the context of the fallout of the working of the economies of these countries. Of course, we have not been affected by what is happening in Pakistan, but definitely would be affected by what is happening in China or in Sri Lanka or in other countries. They have their international effects. Now, in this context, what are the opportunities which we can take care of? Now, let me assess the socio-economic situation in India in brief 1-2 sentences. Now, so far as opportunities is concerned, in India, we have the 5G technology. We are making a faster use of digital technology. We are making use of the demographic dividends. We know we have an entrepreneurial youth, and they have that innovative spirit. And these things taken together, technology, demographic dividend, enterprising youth, innovative spirit, these things taken together, and the opportunities which are being created in India because of the vast amount of investments that's made in the infrastructure development, I'm sure our country will be emerging stronger than before with manifold opportunities for the young entrepreneurs. Now, this I say with confidence because launching of Atmanirbhar Bharat by India is intended to make India strong in technology, is intended to help India in its industrial growth, is intended to help make India a hub of the manufacturing activities. So therefore, in this context, India's emphasis on science, research, and technology contributes to India's economic growth and increases the prospects of scientific and technological developments, which ultimately would result, we expect, in enriching human life and human living. To give you a very common example of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, we can refer to the Vande Bharat Express. This technology was to be shared by Greece with us, but Greece quoted a very heavy price, which was beyond India's capacity to pay, besides its other demands. Surprisingly, Indian engineers, technologists, researchers, they built the Vande Bharat Express in Chennai, in its own coach-making factory. So this is one case where India can be stronger than before, simply because it is depending on technology, it is developing science, it is emphasizing research, and it is bringing technology, using technology for the benefits of the people. Why I say this? I say this is because of research, technology, and the result was that we could find a vaccine for the COVID-19. This is not a small achievement for India. If you look at India as an emerging economy and a fast developing economy, you have to look at the technological side. We know agriculture is developing, we know this is happening, but you have to look at the technology. And this COVID-19, the vaccine which India prepared. So this is not meant for India. This was distributed free of cost to a large number of countries. And this is how India could become a leader in the pharmaceutical world by its own efforts, and technology. Similarly, if you look at the Atmanirbhar Bharat is not only meant to make the Indian economy stronger in the terms of using its own technology, developing its own technology for industrial growth, it is also meant to strengthen the defense sector, the arms and ammunition sector, so that our dependence on foreign power for arms, ammunitions, for our use, for our defense is minimized. We cannot depend on their whims. If they refuse, we are helpless. So here we have been successful and we are getting success after success. India has been making the light helicopters with its own technology. And the other developments which have been taking place in India's arms and technology sector has been attracting international attention. And there is a huge order for Indian arms and ammunitions. Friends, we know Indian economy is growing. It's 6% that is expected for 2023 financial fiscal year. But behind the growth, you have the human resources. That's true. We are talking of the new economic policy, which 21, which will be implemented or being implemented now. But we cannot ignore the role of the technology, the role of research, the role of science, and the role of the pharmaceutical sector in getting the medicines for this. So it is therefore not very, it is therefore estimated that Indian economy may reach US 3.5 trillion mark by March 23. That is, India may be, and it is expected that India will become the third largest economy by 2030. Friends, India has been marching forward. If you look at India as a whole, the Indian economy, look at what is happening in Pakistan. Look at what happened in Sri Lanka by giving free things. Look at what happened in Venezuela by giving free things. Look at what happened in Argentina, which is having 100% inflation rate. Look at what is happening in America, the crisis, the banking crisis. Look at what is happening in China. They are still not able to control the COVID-19 and the tough way they use for controlling COVID-19. So definitely, as a nation, India is much better. Its development is faster. Its growth is faster. And its development prospects for the future are very bright. And now, if NEP 21 is implemented in the country, I'm sure the Indian education system will develop. Students who will be educated under this scheme will develop their critical thinking, perspective, and at least they can be expected to know their own country, know the leaders of the country. They will have the right spirit and consciousness about India, about the vision of India. So what type of India you are trying to make? You are making an India where everybody is conscious of its vision, of its spirit, of its values, of its ancient glory. This is how we are trying to make India. Along with the old values, we are also trying to develop our technology, our science, our research. So this is a beautiful effort to blend old values, old ethics with modern science, modern technology. And you know, you cannot develop unless you combine the two. Otherwise, your scientific development becomes hollow, your developments become hollow when there is no basis for values here. And now we have been saving. It is because we have saved ourselves, it's because we have the central bank, unlike the Federal Reserve Bank, which I earlier mentioned, which kept on raising the interest rate, kept on raising the interest rate at 0.3, 0.5, 0.05, like this to control inflation, but failed. The Indian Central Bank, that is the Reserve Bank of India, which regulates the Indian banking system, could very successfully anticipate the emerging risks in the world economy following the Russian and Ukraine war and devised appropriate monetary policies. It controlled the quantity of money and the liquidity of the economy so that the rate of inflation doesn't exceed the targeted rate of 5%. The rate of inflation might have deviated, might have gone up, but sooner or later, because of the actions, policy actions of the Reserve Bank of India, we are coming back to 5%. That is the inflation rate, targeted inflation rate, we have been successful in achieving. That is, while USA has failed. You see, the beauty of India, our central bank succeeds in managing inflation at the targeted rate of 5% when the Federal Reserve in USA failed. Germany, they are not successful because Germany is under tremendous inflationary pressures. It shows the great resilience power of the Indian people, Indian policymakers, to have growth and stability despite what is happening in the large economies in the world. Added to all this, we have huge investments in infrastructure. We are trying to build 6-line national highways, introducing faster moving trains, and we are connecting cities by airports, where we have 140 airports now in place of 74 airports in 2040. That is why I'm saying that you have better roads, you have better trains, you have better connectivity, you have better infrastructure, your growth is better, your price stability is there, and you are not vulnerable to the pressures. So then again, you will mark how India slowly but steadily has been making its digital structure very strong. Into the distinction with the first country to have developed digitally, then develop the technology for fast payments, UPI, it's all technological development. Develop the data empowerment protection architecture. Under this, I'm quoting from some sources, these things. But the fact remains, India's digital infrastructure growth has been continuing, and we are now thinking in different states whether to establish or set up a digital university, because Kerala has one digital university. So other states are also thinking whether they should have a digital university where everybody can have access to the education with free of cost. So you can see despite the uncertainties, we have been doing much better in the 75th year of India's independence. And we are first evolving into a global economic power in the world scenario. You may not agree, but this is how I feel India. Now, what are the challenges which India faces? These are the developments in technology. These are the developments in other areas. What are the challenges which India faces? Yes, every country faces challenges. Well, one challenge is unemployment. This has been, people have been shouting unemployment. Yes, there is unemployment. You look at any country, which country does not have unemployment? As for The Economist, February 11, 2023, recent data, India's unemployment rate stands at 7.1%, compared to 3.4% in the USA, 11.6% in Germany, 7.1% in France, 9.9% in Turkey, 5.5% in China. Now, the figures I have quoted, I have taken from The Economist, 2022, December 2022. I have taken this to February. From Economist, February 11, 2023, these figures I have taken. Now, therefore, here we have unemployment in India because the socio-economic effects of COVID were felt at that time, but they have a long-term effect. We did not know what happens today will have its impact not tomorrow, not day after tomorrow, but maybe 1 month after. So the socio-economic impact of COVID-19, we are feeling it today. And there is a fear, we cannot rule out that there is maybe the fourth wave of inflation, fourth wave of COVID may be there. So therefore, if we have unemployment, we are creating opportunities for employment. Where do you create? Now, recently, if you look at the newspapers, there are thousands, plenty of advertisements in railways, recruitment in railways, recruitment in steel industry, recruitment in services sector. And you know, the recent example, recruitment of Agniveers, that is, in the army or naval or in Agniveers. So friends, it is not that easy to create employment. It takes time. You have to make investment. You have to make industry. And therefore, this investment making, then creating employment, that takes time. But all the same, we are trying, India is trying to create employment. And then we hope the rate of unemployment will gradually decline. And then another problem which India is suffering from, inequities, coming to the question of inequities and distributive justice. Well, I may submit that this issue has been deliberated endlessly. I think we were debating it in the classroom. We are debating it today in different platforms, but we never reach any definite or universally accepted solution. In this context, I refer to a report of the Oxfam, January 23, where it says India's top 1% own more than 40.5% of the total wealth in 2021. Oxfam report, madam. This is 2023, January publication, you may verify it. In 2023, the number of billionaires, of course, been increasing. Inequalities is increasing. But on the other hand, the number of billionaires also is increasing. Wealth is increasing, but wealth gets concentrated, not distributed. The poverty is there. I'll come to the issue of poverty. It added that the poor in India are unable to afford even the basic necessities to survive. And it has suggested a number of measures, including levying of wealth tax on ultra-rich to tackle inequality. So the question is, why are the rich rich? Why are the poor poor? This question has been debated. The rich can be rich for a number of reasons, and the poor, in spite of their efforts, remain poor for a number of reasons, which is difficult to elaborate here. If a poor man gets addicted to drinking, how much help you give him in terms of money, in terms of incentives, in terms of jobs, he will remain poor. You can't help it. If a poor man becomes rational, makes use of the money in a very prudential way, saves, opens a little shop, tea shop, one day he may prosper. So it depends on your attitude. It depends how you take your life. It depends what way you want to build up your life and what way you want to see yourself in the future. So this is why we say why the rich are rich and the poor are poor. This question has been discussed, why the rich are rich and the poor are poor. And even today, the same thing remains. One works hard, earns more, but spends less. The basic principle of saving. And once you make saving, you may think of making investment in your own future, in some enterprise, which will help you as. So then, the one has this entrepreneurial spirit, one does not have the entrepreneurial spirit. You give money, bank gives the money to people. Those who have the entrepreneurial spirit, they go up. Those who do not have the entrepreneurial spirit, but have taken the money, bank has given the loan, well, they are not able to pay because they have spent it otherwise. You know, this need not be elaborated. So here, some people are making investments in fixed, where they get fixed income. Some people are making investments in, in shares to get more, but then they may be losers. So there are different reasons why this happens. A number of factors can be analyzed to explain economic inequities. So we in India, we have read, and you must be teaching as teachers, why we have a skewed distribution of income, which is neither symmetric nor normal, because the data will trail off more sharply on one side, you know how it is done, than on the other. So this is continuing. So then the question is, why should you worry about social injustice or social inequities? Inequities in the ownership of assets, including land, shares, gold, properties, contribute to the making of an unequal society or a society with enhanced inequities. We worry about it because inequities or gross social injustice have undesirable consequences for the society. Now, in this context, we may look at the views of Professor Thomas Piketty, who says India has come to terms with inequality. That means we have accepted inequality. We have accepted inequality. We have accepted wealth of the rich. We have accepted the poverty of the poor. So he says it is accepted. And if you look at the World Inequality Report 2022, it says India is among the most unequal countries in the world, with rising poverty and an affluent elite class. The report highlights the top 10%. That was Oxfam report. This is another report, World Inequality Report 22. That was 21. The total income, it says, highlights the top 10% and top 1% of India hold 57% and 22% of the total national income respectively, while the bottom 50% share has gone down to 13%. This report has been authored by many important economists. My point is, see, in India, we have a system. We have a system where you have free enterprise. We had a system of socialist pattern of society. That is a long back history. Now we have a society freedom. We have a society of free enterprise. We are promoting capital movement. We are promoting foreign technology. We are promoting inflow of capital. We are inviting foreign nationals, entrepreneurs, capitalists to develop. So when you are creating this type of a situation where the Indian economy is controlled, I don't mean anything wrong. I mean, any disrespect, controlled by those who have wealth, who are entrepreneurs, who are making investments, naturally they will get the benefit. And those people who are at the bottom, who do not have access to wealth, well, they will remain there. Of course, the government will take care of them by providing them with jobs under different schemes. So here, I am of the opinion that, as it has been said earlier also, that you need development, but we have also development. So which comes first? Development comes first, or your equality or the income equality comes first? This question was raised by an economist, and he says, which part of the stick you hold? If you hold this upper part of the stick, it means development. If you hold the lower part of the stick, it means your distribution. So if you are holding development, you are holding emphasizing on growth, difficult to go for distributive justice. If you are holding growth with a number of issues, with a number of palliative measures, then definitely we can reduce the impact of poverty, inequality on the poor classes. So therefore, if you look at the Indian policies, on their side you have these policies, on the social side you have the policies, on the social side you have the old age pensions, pension for the widows, disabled people, insurance benefit, maternity benefits, Prime Minister Awas Yojana, Ayush Yojana. So if you look at these things on these two things, or one thing on the other side, these things on the other side, we are trying to combine the two, development and social justice. That is, we are doing it in India. Whether we are successful or not, that's a different question. Similarly, another issue that has been creating anxiety in India is the area of Human Development Index. Puts India positions at 132 out of 191 countries and territories. This is an area, it depends on your health. This is calculated on the basis of your health. Life experience at birth, expected years of schooling, mean years of schooling, standard of living. So these are the areas which need to be looked into, and necessary steps have to be taken to ensure how we improve our health, how we improve life expectancy at birth, how we try to lengthen the years of schooling for the boys and the girls, and how do we improve the standard of living of the people by providing them food, by providing them medicine, by providing them drinking water, safe drinking water, and how we can take care of them. So this India's sustained efforts to improve health facilities, health infrastructure throughout the country. We may look forward to improved health of the people. So this continuous efforts. Similarly, we may look at Global Gender Gap Index 2022. We had many lady participants. So that says that there is disparity between men and women. Well, I should not go into this program. Now, this is World Economic Forum put India at 135 out of 146 in its Global Gender Gap Index for a number of regions. The reason being, one reason is women, even if they earn money, do not have the decision making to spend the money. Normally, women earns the money, gives it to the husband, doesn't keep it herself. It is a different story altogether. So here, we have to see what are the special packages we can have for aiding the women entrepreneurs, women, or for enabling women development, or how we can create facilities for them, or how do we incentivize women participation in training, in technology development, in capacity building programs to help India in achieving gender equality. This is an area which needs to be looked into. Now, earlier speakers have talked about poverty in India. I will not talk about it. And the last point that I want to see, last 2 points. We have been facing, you have been facing, I have been facing, Professor Tomar has been facing the threat of cyber attacks. Individuals as well as nations have become victims of cyber attacks. National security and institutional data and our own private data gets stolen. Many hospitals in India, railways, airports, the data are stolen. And who hacks them? Nobody knows, but everybody knows who hacks them, but nobody tells it who has hacked them. So they're hacked. Your bank accounts, your defense systems, your insurance, your locations, your medical institutions, your passports, your driving license, everything gets hacked, and you are not safe. Your privacy is no longer a privacy because of the cyber attacks. Now, therefore, many of the states have now instituted cyber police stations. How the cyber police stations are also helping the economy. And the last point that I will say, that we have been trying to build a green economy that is a carbon-free economy, green economy. Now, why do we are talking of a green economy? Because we know we have been facing rising temperature. We experience more and more of fluctuating weather. I don't know, for the last 7 days in Bhubaneswar, we have rain, and we can't go out. We know that heat waves struck recently parts of North American Pacific coast in 2021. We know how the forests in Brazil, how the forests in India kept on, burning because of excessive heats, and we know the ecological damage that has been caused. We experience extreme weather conditions, either very cold or very hot. We have floods. Yes, we have also droughts. So such unpredictable happenings may be ascribed to climate change. 4 of the major rivers that in Europe got dried up, the Danube River, the Rhine River, the Loire River, they also got dried up because of this climate change. So that is why we are talking of the green economy. And it may be recalled that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that at the 26th session of the Conference of the Parties, that at the UNFCCC November 21, that India will achieve the target of net zero emission by 2070. Now, if you're a close observer of the economy or the simple common things, you must know how steadily we are improving towards that. Now, you know, earlier the trains were pulled by the steam engines. That's gone. Then the trains were pulled by the, diesel engines. Now that's gone. All the railway lines have been electrified, electrified, and we have now electric engines, no diesel engines. At least one source of pollution has been stopped. Automobile companies have been making battery-run buses. Tata buses run in Bhubaneswar town, battery-run buses. We have electric cars. You must have purchased an electric car. We have electric scooters. You must have purchased an electric scooter. And today you find the number of electric cars, electric scooters are rising in Indian roads. So the future indicates that everybody is conscious, that everybody is trying to make a change for the better. And this change has been made not only by the individuals, but also by the companies, by the Tata company, by the Swiggy company, by the Hyundai company. They're all making this, they're becoming a part of this mission to create a world or create an India which is free of carbon and which runs on electric cars or this car or this car. So therefore, the best example is that our Honorable Finance Minister presented a paperless budget. So we have now e-books. We have now this e-books, your internet facilities, we are sending mails to you and you read it. So this has reduced the consumption of paper, and subsequently it has reduced the pressure on the forests for cutting trees, for making of paper. So definitely we are making progress. And I'm sure in terms of technology, in terms of cyber security, in terms of green economy, in terms of the like also poverty reduction, in terms of your global gender gap, I'm sure India has been making efforts, and maybe sooner or later we'll be reaching these targets compared to other countries. So friends, let me take this opportunity. I think I have not taken more than 15 to 20 minutes time, madam. I will end by saying that what India is doing today is to create a better future for tomorrow's generation by changing over from the old things to the new things. That is for the better future generation, which will be there tomorrow. With these words, I once again thank Professor Ajay Kumarji and Professor Asthana, who is the secretary, and Professor Singh, who is no more visible here, and Professor Pandey, and many others, everybody I thank. I may not be knowing them personally, but then I thank everybody. Madam, I also thank you. I don't know you, but you have been doing a wonderful job. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful address. You have provided very valuable information. We all are really enthralled and impressed by the way you presented your address. Sir, you discussed about the various unexpected crises faced by India and then socio-economic condition of India, along with many other points. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable address. Now, I take this opportunity to call Professor R.K. Uppal, sir, eminent personality of Punjab University, for his address. we are extremely grateful to you, sir, for your presence in the conclave. R.K. Uppal, sir.
I think he is left, madam.
Okay, okay.
You continue the next one.
Okay, no issues, sir, no issues. So, proceeding towards the end of this program, good events never end. They only take a pause and keep us awaiting for the next. Towards the end of this conclave, I very earnestly implore Dr. D.K. Asthana, sir, General Secretary, Indian Economic Association, to show his gratitude to our honorable luminaries and eminent experts and present a vote of thanks. Dr. D.K. Asthana, sir.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you very
I
much.
want to say something, sir.
Pardon?
Can
Yes,
you please
madam,
open
go
your cameras for group photograph?
Okay.
Parallelly, you can give the vote of thanks.
Right. So, very good evening again, all of you. I express my gratitude to the today's conclave by the learned panelist, Professor Sudhakar Pandaji. Very details and the give our information to us. Dr. Sudhi Sharma ji, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Ghanshyam Singh ji, our President, Dr. Adya Prasad Pandaji, former Vice Chancellor of Manipur University, as well as the learned Dr. Madhurma Lal. He delivered a very good lectures to us. Professor of Applied Economics of the ex-head Lucknow University, Lucknow. Professor of Economics in TT College, Dr. Anupama Shrivastava. She gave a very good, their views to us and very important to us. On behalf of the member of the IEA, I, Dr. Dharmendra Asthana, will thank to you all, the dignitaries and IEA family for joining us, especially to Dr. Indu Vashne, Dr. Vidhu Mohan, Dr. Ramaiya Rajan and her team. A big thanks to you all of your kind words and time given to us. Thanks their thoughts for thought-provoking views. Dr. Uppal Sahab, by the way, is not here now. Davis Bomik ji, their comments also. Dr. Goyal, Dr. Alok Goyal ji, Dr. Krishna Bajpayee, Dr. G.S. Sandhu, Dr. Raja Saxena, Dr. Anil Thakur sir, with his comments also. Dr. Prahlad Kumar, our Allahabad, from Allahabad, he is a learned person. He was with us. And our big thanks to our moderator who joined us first time, Dr. Sangeeta Arora of SRDA Hathras. I think he deserves for the big applause for her great work. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And a big thanks to our technical in charge, Dr. Monica Vashne, Dr. Ravi Sethi. Dhanyavad, Shukriya, thank you, Shubh Ratri, Shabba Khair, good night. Pranam, sabko namaskar. Thank you.
In the end, I invite all the eminent personalities, the delegates and guests to stand up for national anthem. I very humbly request Dr. Monica Vashne ma'am to please sing national anthem. Monica Vashne ma'am.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल तब शुभ नामे
शुभ शुभ
जन
जन
गण
गण
भारत भाग्य विधाता जय ही जय ही जय ही जय 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 ही। भारत माता की
जय।
वंदे मातरम। धन्यवाद सर।
I would also like to thank Dr. D.K. Asthana sir and Professor Indu Vaishnav ma'am for giving me this opportunity to be here with you all and listen to you all. It was real pleasure for me. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Eki, so much, sir. Thank you.